Hi, today I just want to share with you some security principles that are really important to consider in your organization, in your security strategy. Even we are going to discuss and review some topics. These are, in some point, my expertise is related most of the time with Microsoft solutions. But the principles themselves are something that you can use. It's something that you can apply in your organization. So let's go on these 5 points or 5 principles that I'm going to share with you related to your security strategy. The first one is that you need to configure, you have to have the mindset in your organization and your security strategy to have the configure the least privileged access control and protect your identities. What do I mean by this? Okay, in some time before, we used to have many, if we talk about identity repository, right? We used to have Active Directory, Microsoft Active Directory, and there were so many domain admins in your Active Directory because there were different requirements from different providers, and each of the providers, they used to say, hey, in order to install this service, enable this application, I need to have the domain admin permission in the domain so I can install and configure the application. And at the end of the day, we used to have a lot of domain administrators. Like, okay, if you have 100 users, maybe you have 20% of them are domain admins, and many accounts that they had just the privileges of being domain admin. Now, when we are making the transition to the cloud service, to the cloud solution, now there is other type of admins, which in this case are the global admins in the, if we are talking about Office 365 and Azure, we are talking about the global admins, which are accounts that have the most of the permissions in the tenant, right? But the point is that now we have the capabilities and the solutions and the options to configure our environment just to require the specific permission for some specific users. I mean, they don't have to have the elevated permission, elevated privileges all the time. Most of the time they are just doing daily works, sending emails, creating emails, and interacting, collaborating with the rest of the team. And they are not specifically creating services like configuring the email platform, configuring the collaboration solutions like SharePoint or something like that require specific permissions. Now, as we talk about Microsoft specifically, we have the options to use something that is called privileged identity management, which is something that will help you to control. I mean, you can give to some specific users the capabilities to do some admin task in some specific period of time. I mean, you can give to your admins a couple of hours or 1 hour, whatever they want. At that specific time, they only have the capabilities to do those admin tasks. The rest of the time, after the time pass away, I mean, it's over, they go back to simple users with no privileges, no permissions. So the first principle is you need to be on the mindset of giving just the least privileged access control to your administrators. And obviously help them to protect their account, right? How to protect their account? Okay, let's say there are two sides of protecting identity accounts. One is protecting the identity itself, validating the identity, right? Which in this case, proving you are the person that you are really saying you are. So in this case, we can use, for example, another securities options like asking for multi-factor authentication. I mean, validating with a cell phone or a one-token password the identity. The other part is protecting or going through with a strategy of secure or passwordless solution, which is something that we can talk in another video. So that's the first principle. The second principle is talking about protecting your sensitive data. I mean, where is your data? there are two types of information in your organization. One type of information is the structured information, which in this case are the information that is stored in your databases. Okay, there is in a single repository with specific security parameters and strategy to protecting that information. Let's say protecting a database in a SQL or Oracle or whatever. But the other part, which is a huge percentage, is the non-structured data, which in this case are all the information that your end users are creating, and you might never know when they create that information. Not being aware of when the information is being created, the type of information that is in the file, that information is not structured, which means it's everywhere in any type of application and any type of repository. So you need to have, the second principle is to have a strategy that allows you to control the information wherever it is in the entire information lifecycle. Okay, even if it's at rest, it's stored in a laptop or wherever in a file server, you need to have a strategy to secure that information. If the information is in transit, okay, we are sending email to internally and we are sending email externally, sharing with external collaborators, like in a business to business, okay? But even if the information goes outside of your network boundary, your organization, you need to have the control to be secure, to be sure that the information is protected, when the information is in transit. And when it's in use, okay, you need to make sure that you have the security policies in place in your organization that will allow you to control the information wherever it is. If it's information in a USB, if in a mobile device, whatever the information is in use, you need to make sure that information is really protected. Protecting information and establishing all the mechanisms like data loss prevention, controlling the information, where the information goes, having the security policies to protect the information. The principle number 3 is to protect your infrastructure in terms of your network, okay? Network firewalls, in IDS, IPS, those are the things that also you need to have. Denial of service protection, and also configure, for example, the microsegmentation. I remember when I was starting in technology, we used to have some model like this is, Windows Reference Service architecture, which is something that is helped me a lot when I was defining with the customer their security strategy in terms of protecting the network. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you remember something that was called domain isolation. Oh man, yes, I suffer a lot in this case of learning how to configure many security rules, on how to help the organizations to protect, segment the infrastructure. Okay, databases in the 3 layers, remember the 3 layers when the web services were starting. Okay, we have the web server, the front end, and we have the middle tier, and we have the back end tier, which is the databases. So you need to separate the layers of your network, so you have different security policies on each of these segments that you could have. So if you have in a more secure environment, you can for example, specify a specific network where is the only one location where the admins can go and get access to the server or services. So you have that controlled space. The 4th principle is enable threat protection and remediation across your hybrid workloads. Okay, hybrid. Why? Well, because most of the organizations are in a hybrid infrastructure environment, and you need to have that capability of protecting against advanced threat protections, right? Advanced threat protections that are just getting out every time, because the threats are just getting out and are new every time. They are polymorphous and always changing. So you need to have in place some advanced threat protection. Like in this case, for example, you need to have, for example, the ATP solutions that Microsoft provides in this case, the advanced threat protection, which is protecting identities. Remember, in some videos I have talked about identity protection, just making sure that your identity is really protected, that your identity, your user that is trying to get access to your organization resources is the one that is correct. I mean, my user A Martinez is A Martinez. I belong to this organization. And if there is something weird, like a typical location, I'm trying to get access from my country for the place, let's say Central America, Nicaragua, where I am from. Now I'm trying to get access from Tokyo at the same time. So this is not something normal. Or my behavior, something that is really cool about identity protection is that it analyze and understand the user behavior. So if you move to the email protection, then we also have the Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection, which is another cool feature and solution, not feature, solution that will help you to protect your corporate email, okay, against some phishing attacks and many other type of advanced threats that are coming through emails, spoofing, domain impersonalization, and many of those attacks that are common. You can be protected using the Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection. And they will help you to protect your safe your attachments. I mean, scan your attachments and deliver to the end user just when the attachment has been analyzed. It's secure to deliver to the end user. Okay, the links, the link, when some emails come with a link, some strange and weird suspicious links, then that can also be analyzed with Office 365. And the third option is also protecting from the identities perspective from, let's say, for example, you want also to be aware of all the user behavior in your on-premises infrastructure. So you can have also something, the Azure ATP, Azure Advanced Threat Protection, that it will be integrated with your Active Directory and your domain controller. So every time that someone is trying to authenticate against your Active Directory, it will be, record, and Azure ATP will be able to record that information and provide any any actions to take, right? If you want to protect your identities on premises. Also, remember, we have talking about a corporate email protection with Office 365 ATP. But what about, for example, if the end user is getting access in your computers from your organization, but they're getting access to Outlook, Hotmail, Yahoo, whatever personal or social email. If they download something, those kind of emails are not protected and not going through Office 365 ATP. So in that case, they can download, they are vulnerable of getting infected and hacked. So how can you do it? So another point that I have also considered with my customers when I was talking to them is, okay, you can also extend that protection by also integrating with Microsoft Defender ATP, which is a solution, an endpoint and detection and response solution that will help you to control everything that is coming and going out from your endpoint, your PCs. So in that scale, you will be also protecting your on-premises workloads, not only in the solutions that are in the cloud, right? So you have to, the fourth principle is take care of the advanced threats, and you in Microsoft, you have also the capabilities to do it. Now, the fifth principle, and the last one that I'm going to mention, is to continuously evaluate your security posture, okay? Create the policies that you require. If you need to be in compliance, so create the policies, translate your security and compliance policies that are required in your industry to Microsoft solution, which is something that will be also there. You can do them and have that visibility of what's going on in your infrastructure. Microsoft published something that was called Security Score. Security Score is something that will give you your real or present status. Okay, what is your actual today? What is your actual security posture? I mean, do you need to improve? What about the domain admins or the global admins, let's say, or specifically, what about the privileges? Do you need to reduce the amount or the quantity of global admins? Do you need to work towards some specific actions that you are required to execute, right? About your data, identity, your devices, for example. What about your devices? Are the users getting access to the organization resources with the mobile devices that is really protected and secure? So, but now Microsoft also changed that security with, it's also integrating and providing that information in some threats, mobility and threats management, and also integrating with endpoint manager too, which is another solutions that will be providing information in a single place about identities, devices, endpoints in this case, emails, and all the threats umbrella, all that advanced threats protections that you need to have. Remember, if you have visibility, you feel fine, you feel in peace. I mean, you feel in control, and you can be sure and make sure to your stakeholder, to your manager, director, your boss, whatever, you can provide them the information they need. Okay, if you want to see how the organization is, and at this moment you can do that report, get that report, and just provide that information to them, and that will help you at the end to be in a better position, be better prepared in your infrastructure based on these security principles that we have talked. Okay, so so this is the principles that I wanted to share with you. Remember, if you want to get additional information, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and I will share with you additional information regarding these and other topics of your interest. So until the next video, become the best version of yourself every single day.